Hello and welcome back to Bicycle Legs and another edition of Studio Albums Ranked. Today we're going to be looking at the discography of British band The Police. It's a short discography. They only had 5 studio albums. They were only together for about 5 or 6 years, maybe a bit longer. But it's a really good discography. It was a hard one to rank because I really do love all 5 of these albums. And the funny thing is, I love The Police, but I'm not a big fan of Sting's solo career. I love Dream of the Blue Turtles. I think that's a wonderful album. The one that comes after it, Nothing Like the Sun, is okay. And then after that, he starts to get a bit boring for me, I've really got to say. But The Police were always really interesting. Most of their stuff's really lively and has a wonderful sort of mix of punk sensibility without actually being punk, along with sort of, reggae feel to it, definitely sort of new wave influences in there as well. So they're a band that I've always found really interesting and I've really, really liked. So I've ranked these from my least favourite to my most favourite, but my least favourite is still an album I really like a lot, so don't feel like I'm sort of taking a dump on the album that's at the bottom or the couple of albums that are at the bottom, because I'm not. I think these are all really good albums. So let's start with my number 5. It is going to be their 3rd album from 1980, and that is Zenyatta Mondatta. And it's a really good album. I mean, just some of the songs on here are really, really good. What were the big hit singles off this? I'm finding it hard to read the back of the cover, I've got to say, so I'm going to have a look at the actual vinyl. Well, you have Don't Stand So Close to Me. That's a classic single. Driven to Tears is great. When the World's Running Down. On side 2, you've got things like Do-Do-Do-Do, Da-Da-Da-Da, which I know a lot of people really like. Not one of my favourite Police singles, but still a catchy one. Behind My Camel's really good. Man in the Suitcase and The Other Way of Stopping. It's a good album. I just like the other ones better, that's all. So that's my number 5. At number 4, I'm going to go with the debut from 1978, Outlanders to More. This one had some really good, the classic songs, Next to You is very brash and punky. So Lonely's great. Roxanne, massive, massive hit single. The song that really broke them into the mainstream. Hole in My Life. Peanuts is great. Can't Stand Losing You, I really, really like. Truth Hits Everybody. Yeah, it's a good album. My number 3 is going to be their 2nd album from 1979, and that is Regatta de Blanc. I think the reason I like this one better than the other 2 is that this is probably their most collaborative album in terms of songwriting. Stuart Copeland and Andy Summers get a lot of songwriting credits on this. All the other Police albums are very much dominated by Sting's songwriting. And Sting writes wonderful songs for the Police, don't get me wrong, but I love to hear Andy Summers and Stuart Copeland contributing to the songwriting as much as they do on this album. This is where I feel their early sound was at its peak. And they would change after the Zenyatta Mondatta. The next couple of albums, they would definitely look at expanding and changing their sound from what it was on these early 3 records. But this has got Message in a Bottle, which is just an incredible song. Title track's great. It's All Right For You. Death Wish is really good. Walking on the Moon, another wonderful single. On Any Other Day is great. The Bed's Too Big Without You is really, really good. Does Everyone Stare? It's a really good album. It's my favorite of the early Police albums, but it's the last two albums where I think the Police really shone. As I said, they expanded their sound. They started doing different things. They started even playing different instruments, like playing saxophone and what have you. So my number 2 is going to be their 4th album from 1981, Ghost in the Machine. It was really close between my number 1 and my number 2, but my number 1 was always going to be my number 1. But this one's got Spirits in the Material World, which is wonderful. Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic. Fabulous, fabulous single. Invisible Sun is wonderful. Hungry for You. Demolition Man, great song. Too Much Information. Dehumanize Yourself is really, really good. I love Omega Man. And Secret Journey in Darkness. It's a really good album. But my favorite is their Swan Song album from 1983, Synchronicity. And I've got to say, with this album, the one song that I'm not a huge fan of is the song that was their biggest hit single, which is Every Breath You Take. It's a good pop song, but I've heard it a billion times. The lyrics are a bit stalkerish, but every other song on this album is just, to me, incredible. I love Synchronicity 1. Walking in Your Footsteps is haunting. Oh My God is really good. I am a defender of Mother. I know a lot of people hate it because Andy Summers does the lead vocal on it and it sounds caterwauling and not at all like what Sting sounds like. I think it suits the song perfectly, and I really, really like Mother. I think it's great. Musically, it's just really weird. You can hear a bit of influence from Andy Summers' good friend Robert Fripp, who he did a couple of albums with. They're well worth checking out too, the Andy Summers and Robert Fripp albums, if you never have. Miss Gradenko is a wonderful Stuart Copeland song. I've always really, really loved that song. Synchronicity 2, fabulous. Really sort of apocalyptic. Love it. Then you got Every Breath You Take. I've already talked about that. King of Pain is wonderful, beautiful. Wrapped Around Your Finger is a great song. Really, really atmospheric. And then Tea in the Sahara is a wonderful ballad. Again, also really sort of atmospheric and stuff. And then on the CD, you get the bonus track Murder by Numbers, which I also really, really like. So that's my Police studio albums ranked, going back from my favourite to my least favourite. At number 1, we have Synchronicity. At number 2, Ghost in the Machine. At number 3, Regatta de Blanc. At number 4, Outlandos d'Amour. And at number 5, still a really good album, Zenyatta Mondata. So that's my Police ranking. Please let me know in the comments what your rankings are. I really, really love reading the comments, and I love it when people actually do a whole ranking. And I love it when they're different, because I love hearing different people's opinions on these albums and how they hear them differently from what I do. And sometimes it helps me reappraise and reevaluate some of these albums. So yeah, please comment. I really do love it. Please like, share and subscribe. It really does help the channel out. It's been wonderful. I've had a bunch of new subscribers in the last couple of weeks. And if you're one of those new subscribers, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I hope you continue to enjoy the channel, as well as all my regular subscribers. If you want to follow me on Instagram and Twitter, I'm at bicyclelegs. On Instagram, I'm mostly posting the albums I happen to be listening to at the time. On Twitter, I talk about anything and everything, but I am definitely giving that more of a music focus. If you're new to the channel, please go and have a look at some of my other videos. I have a bunch of other studio albums ranked in a wide variety of genres. They're in a playlist. All of my videos are playlisted, so if you want to look at my studio albums ranked, I have a playlist for that. If you want to look at my anniversary albums, I have a playlist for that. My In Defense Of series, I have a playlist for that. My favorite albums of all time, and so on. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.